How do we know that there were only 6 people in this house at 1122 King Road on the night that these crimes occurred? Hey everyone, it's Lucky from Unfiltered Lucky. And today I wanted to just jump on here and talk about something that I've been thinking about all morning. And I went to bed thinking about it last night because it was a comment that I read in the comment section under the video that I uploaded last night. And when I say that I read through the comments, I really do read through the comments. I really do go in and read the comments. There's a lot of amazing information in that comment section. And a lot of brilliant people, a lot of really smart people with really great ideas and really good information. So if you're looking for information that's more on the level than mainstream media, read through these comments. There's some amazing ideas in these comments. Now, when I go through my comments, I don't just go through the video that I did that day. I refer back to my comments all the way back to my first video. Now, the comment section to me is a wealth of information because it's a lot of people who share the same interest who are sharing information. And as I've always said, I've approached this with a very open mind. I'm not biased towards anyone. I approach this with a very open mind. So I'm open to new ideas and I'm open to new theories, which is what I want to talk about today. Because there's a theory that comes up in my comment section quite a bit. And it's all different people from all over the world. And it comes up quite a bit. So it's a theory that last night I saw a comment about it and it really got me thinking. And so I want to talk about this theory. Now, this theory is basically that these crimes all began because of a fight that happened inside the house. There was an altercation that got out of control, way out of control. But it all started with a fight. So to me, that's very logical. It's very logical that this all started with an altercation. It makes a lot of sense. And so I started breaking it down in my head last night. And I actually woke up thinking about it as well and breaking this down in my head. So how do we really know that there were only 6 people in this house? How do we know that there weren't more people in this house? The only way that law enforcement would know who was in this house is because that's what they were told. So, how do we really know that there were only 6 people in this house? Bethany and Dylan both stated that all of the roommates and Ethan were in the house. We're back under one roof at 2 a.m. All of the roommates had returned to the house at 2 a.m. But that's not saying that there wasn't people already at the house. Could there have already been people at the house, maybe partying or, we know that everybody was out drinking that night. So is it possible that they were having maybe a get-together, like an after-party get-together at their house, and that there was more people in this house than just the 5 roommates and Ethan? I mean, Why couldn't there be? Law enforcement is going off of the word of the surviving roommates. So it's very possible that there could be people in this house that weren't mentioned. So if an altercation broke out in this house, a fight breaks out in this house, my question, I guess, would be, why only the 4 roommates? Why was it only the 4 roommates? Why not like 2 roommates and 2 random people, or 1 roommate and 1 random person? Why only the 4 core group of roommates? And the more that I thought about that, the more I started thinking, well, these roommates were a tight-knit group. So maybe there was an altercation inside the house and they were defending each other, and that's how they got into this situation, and that's how their lives were taken. We know that Ethan's golf clubs are frozen in holding. Why? Is it possible that golf clubs were used? Is it possible that they were using golf clubs to attack each other? It's definitely possible that a big fight broke out in this house. And it would definitely explain away a lot of things. Now, if this was a big fight among people who knew each other, that would explain more about why they didn't call 911 until noon. So they all knew each other. So if they all did know each other, it would make sense that they wouldn't call 911. It would make more sense if maybe the people who the roommates got into the altercation with, the 4 victims got into the altercation with, knew or were possibly closer to Dylan and Bethany. Because Dylan and Bethany didn't get touched in this whole thing. So it would make sense that if there was a big altercation in this house, if there was a big fight in this house, and the people who the victims were fighting with were friends of or closer to Dylan and Bethany, it would make sense of why they weren't touched in these crimes. Now, was Dylan and Bethany even in their rooms during the time of the crime? That's something else that we don't know. We don't know how many people were really in this house. What we know is that Dylan and Bethany stated that there were these 6 people, that all the roommates plus Ethan were in this house. But they didn't state that other people were not in the house before. I mean, is it possible that people could have been in the house before the 4 victims arrived home at 2 a.m.? Because reportedly Bethany and Dylan got home around 1 a.m. So is it possible that there were already people in the house? Now, this would also explain the delay, the 8-hour delay to call 911. I mean, if these were all people who knew each other, it's possible that this is a cover-up. It's possible that the reason it took 8 hours to call 911 and they weren't called until noon, approximately noon, is because they were cleaning up the crime scene. They could have been cleaning up the crime scene and coming up with a story. That's 8 hours is a good amount of time to be able to do all that. So if this was a fight among people who knew each other, it would explain why they didn't call 911. We don't even know that they were in their bedrooms at this time. At this time, we really don't know if Bethany and Dylan were in their bedrooms. That's just what we've been told. That's what they've told law enforcement and investigators. So it would answer the question of why not call 911. Maybe they all knew each other. So maybe they didn't realize it was going to escalate into something like that quick. But other than that, maybe they're protecting each other. Not calling 911 for 8 hours, there's really not a lot of excuses for that. I mean, there's really not a lot of alibis for that reason. But it would make sense that they were taking that time to clean, maybe get rid of some items in the house that maybe they didn't want law enforcement to find, and come up with a story. What are we going to tell law enforcement? So it's a really interesting theory, and it makes sense. There's a lot of logic to it. Now, we don't know what the altercation would have started from. I have an idea, but I would say that it definitely, I'm not going to say definitely, but I would say it possibly would stem from illegal substances. This is why the toxicology reports are so important, because it would tell us if these 6 individuals who were in this house had illegal substances in their systems. Not to judge them, but to know what state of mind that they may have been in, and to also know what state of mind the people around them who may have been in this house may also have been in. The toxicology reports are very important, and they do play a key role in this case, I believe. Now, we also would have to think that if this is the way this happened, if this was a big fight in this house and that's how this happened, we would also have to think about the idea that these victims were staged. That these victims were staged in their rooms. That's not where these victims ended up. That's where these victims ended up, but that's not necessarily maybe where their lives were taken. So we have to consider that possibility if we're talking about an altercation that just became brutal. There's a lot of reasons why this can happen. I mean, it could happen because people were under the influence of illegal narcotics. You know, there's a lot of reasons why altercations can happen. But if it was a big altercation in this house that caused this, we would also have to think that these bodies were staged. It's definitely an interesting theory, and it's something that I definitely want to touch more on, and I definitely want to research this more, because there's a very logical aspect to this theory. So I'm really glad that I came across this in the comments. You know, when I go through my comments and I'm reading through my comments and I'm reading comments from a week ago or 2 weeks ago, you see a pattern throughout your comments of ideas that people have and theories that people have. And there's a lot of really great information in there. And this was one of those theories that really stuck with me. But when I read this comment last night, it really got the wheels turning, and it really got me thinking about the possibility that this whole situation was started because of a fight. I'm going to look more into that because I'm really interested in that. And it's something that I woke up thinking about it this morning, and I wanted to get on here and share it with you. So please like and keep those comments coming. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.